welcome to NUFS. I'm Mike.
I'm Clay.
And we're here to talk about some movies that are coming out soon. Unfortunately, it's January, so the quality of the films you usually get in January ranges usually from like late Oscar push films to just films that nobody in the studio cared about or believes in and are dumping in the wasteland that is January and February.
Yeah, pretty much. The only other exception to that is films that they think, yeah, this could work, and we'll just put it in January because everything else will be so terrible.
Yeah.
This will look better by comparison.
We'll see what we think about the films that are coming up this coming January. But I think the only film I can remember enjoying that I think came out in January was The King's Speech.
No.
And I want to say that was either a really late December or an early January release. Mm-hmm. Or that's when I saw it, maybe.
Generally, well.
Otherwise, it's always terrible.
Well, that's the part of the problem is to be eligible for the Oscars, the film has to come out in the year.
Yeah, okay.
So they want it to come out in, the thing is, they don't like to release Oscar contenders early in the year because no one's going to remember that by the time we start voting. So that's why they like to release the really big Oscar baity films. They come out December, November, that kind of thing. So that people remember by the time it's time to vote. So if a film comes out in January, it usually means this is not winning Oscars. We're not even going to even try to have this contend.
But they do sometimes do from limited to wide release in January.
That does
to
happen.
get the buzz going.
That's true. Then that's the other thing is they release the films really late in December, sometimes even on Christmas that is late, and then the buzz is there, and then they do the wide releases. They're limited release, so they can technically qualify for the Oscars that year.
Yeah.
And then they make the big money in January because, again, that's the other thing they're competing against. Why? Because there are good movies in the theaters. They're just the movies that came out weeks ago, actually.
Like, for instance, the one we talked about a couple weeks ago, Showgirl, is getting its wide release now in January, although it had a significant limited release starting in, I believe we were talking about that one in November.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that will happen now. Some of these other ones will go to wide. But the ones we're talking about this week are all coming out for the first time in January. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first trailer here for, I believe, The Better Man, with it's a biopic about Robbie Williams.
I know what you're thinking. What's with the monkey? I'm Robbie Williams. I'm one of the biggest pop stars in the world. But I've always seen myself a little less evolved.
Now scream, whoa!
You've got to risk it all, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
There's a lot going on there. Not much that I don't know who Robbie Williams is. Apparently, he's one of the biggest pop stars in the world. This is news to me.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing here. My first instinct on it. This is the second time I've seen this trailer, and the first time I kept thinking, so what, they just had a bunch of Planet of the Apes animation left over that they needed to use up?
My first thought it was another Planet of the Apes sequel, but like a really weird one.
Yeah, it was like the ones where they were just like a sub where they had a music career on the side or something.
Yeah. Like I didn't have the sound on the first time I watched it, so I was very confused.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, why is Caesar getting bullied by he's playing soccer?
Yeah.
What's happening?
I know. And it's just the question comes, why?
That's my question.
It's
Why
like,
does he need a biopic at all, let alone have to be a monkey in it?
Well, it's a good point because there's a lot of music biopics that have been coming out lately. They're very popular.
Yeah, we just talked about the Bob Dylan one.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, but he's still relatively young. This is like, it's very new, so it's usually we wait a while. Bob Dylan's been around for decades here.
Oh, yeah.
And all the other biopics that were very popular, we've had ones in the recent years. The big one was Queen with Bohemian Rhapsody. The other one we had an Elton John one not too long ago.
Yep.
It was pretty popular.
All older.
David Bowie. Yeah, these are well established. We know who these people are, and like you just said, I'm not a Robbie Williams expert. I don't know who else claims to be. So
I don't think anyone outside of the UK cares or knows who he is.
Yeah, it seems like let's do something really gimmicky we'll put him in this, make him look like an ape here, and then maybe that'll bring attention to it.
I have a theory that he is extremely vain and wanted to play himself, but unfortunately is old now and couldn't do that. So he decided he's gonna play himself, but they're just gonna CGI all of it and make him a monkey.
That's a good possibility. Another thing I was thinking about is, and I apologize because I don't remember the name of the movie, but there was a documentary film came out, if I believe it was about Pharrell recently, that was all in Lego.
Which I've heard was really good. I didn't see it.
And it's just, I think that's kind of the same idea. It's like, well, we've all seen these biopics and these things. Let's try something different. Rather than having someone act it out, we'll just do it in animation form.
Which is different than just making him a monkey.
Yeah, that's...
I feel like there's a lot of loaded context there.
Yeah, it's like, what are you trying to do? I mean, in the trailer, he says, I have always felt a little bit less evolved, he said, and that's the explanation for it. And that one, I'm like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, and then the trailer says it's like raw and truthful or whatever. I'm like, but he's a monkey in it, so like, is it really?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of it's going to be kind of like, I don't know.
I know what you're thinking. Yeah, it's exactly what I'm thinking. Why is he a monkey? I don't understand.
Yeah, and I think that'll lead to the question, because if they want this to be like, oh, this is really, to the core, really tells you who he is. I don't think he was doing flips and a lot of that acrobatic stuff like that. You're kind of so it's going to get, it doesn't feel that honest, really.
No.
And then is it even the time for it? I think, off the top of my head, I was almost thinking like, we grew up with a lot of shows, a lot of times Disney shows, where we had talking animals. I'm thinking of
anthropomorphize everything.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Disney's Robin Hood, which is amazing.
Yeah, great.
I love that movie, and it's all foxes and lions and other animals, and we like, sure, why not? We like that thing.
I like Sing that came out a couple years ago.
Yeah,
great.
That's a great one. So, and I see no reason why. And the reason I went to the Robin Hood one is because while Robin Hood himself, it wasn't a real character, King Richard was, and they were like, we're going to put King Richard as an actual lion. Richard the Lion. Big joke. You could do that. I could see that being entertaining, where we're going to tell a true story. It's actually real. This actually happened, some historical event, but everyone's going to be an animal for some reason.
Yeah.
You could get away with it, but it's just him. He's the only one, and it's like, couldn't everyone? What if everyone was some different kind of animal on there? I don't know. I think I'd be more interested in seeing that. That'd be something about that would be more, I don't know, compelling in a way.
It just breaks my brain, because that had to cost a lot of money to CGI him in for an entire movie, and if they wanted to spend that money, they could have made a couple of films for that. And all these movies that could be made out there to tell really cool and interesting stories, and you're going ahead and you're going to blow, I'm sure, a ton of money on making a mediocre pop star look like a monkey for 2 hours. I don't get it.
It's hard to, I don't always like to think of the finance end to it, but
it jumps out of the screen when you see it, something like that.
It's like, why is that? And I'll give the movie the credit, that it looked pretty good.
Yeah,
it
looks great.
It does look great. It looks great. They made it look really realistic, and I said, it reminded me of the Planet of the Apes movie animation.
That's why I was like, that's a compliment.
I like the Planet of the Apes movie.
Yeah.
The last 4 Planet of the Apes movies have been amazing, and the animation's fantastic, and
they deserve
that credit.
It services the story.
This one, I don't know what they're, and I think maybe you were onto something where he just wanted to play himself or something like that.
I hope that's not the case, but I feel like it probably is.
It might be it, because, and I'm not sure, and I think the other thing is, I don't know if there were a lot of actors jumping to play him is the other thing. Because here's the thing, one of the reasons these biopics are so popular is, especially music ones, is you get an actor who's like, I can do an imitation of that singer, and I can win an Oscar. People will look at my performance because look how good I imitated that.
There's the prestige in it, because these are usually prestige roles.
There's nothing that with Robbie, and part of that could be just because there's nobody who can play it. I don't know. Maybe there isn't anyone who can look like him and sound like him. And the problem is he's right there. He's not old enough for it to be a factor. So it's just,
and you're not not introducing him to a new audience. I mean, maybe, I guess, because I don't know who he is, but I grew up in the era that he would have been popular, and I don't know who he is.
Yeah. There could also be a factor of the big fad where they had with that cryptocurrency and the latent bored apes thing. I'm kind of wondering if that's a factor in
God,
this
maybe.
decision-making.
You know, that is the most depressing thing you could have brought up.
I'm
and
sorry,
maybe.
it's possibly what's
Yeah.
going on here. And remember, they did dump it in January, so no one has much faith in this thing.
Exactly.
This isn't winning any Oscars.
All right, well, we should move on to the next film here. Steven, what's the next one?
Wolfman.
All right, we're going to talk about Wolf. This one I'm actually kind of excited
I am
for.
too.
We're going to talk about the Wolfman. Let's take a look at the trailer here.
What was that thing, Blake?
It sounded like an animal. But I swear to God, it was standing on 2 feet.
Daddy, are we gonna die?
No, it's my job to protect you.
What's wrong with Daddy?
He got sick.
Please, Dad, you're scaring me! Blake, stop! Daddy, is that you?
I'm all about this one.
Same.
I'm all in. I want to see it. I didn't see The Invisible Man, and I know this is like kind of tangentially by the same writer as Saw as well. I'm interested.
Yeah,
Good
I am.
pedigree. Looks good.
Yeah, I am too. I did see the most recent Invisible Man movie they made that came out at roughly the same time. I believe it was February 2020.
Okay.
I loved that movie. It was one of the best movies they made of 2020. These are strange years, but yeah, Invisible Man was amazing. And one of the things I remember saying at the time, because of course these are Universal horror movies.
Essentially,
the classic Universal horror monsters, and they're basically remaking them.
Yep.
You know, in the Universal horror monsters, that's Dracula, that's Frankenstein, the Mummy, Wolfman, obviously, and Invisible Man. When I saw Invisible Man when that came out, that was the scariest one I've ever seen. It was because they made it modern and made it real.
Yeah.
The adapting it to our time worked, because that's the other thing about all these Universal horror movies. They usually set in the past.
In the past, yeah.
At some unspecified time.
Gothic horror.
Gothic horror, exactly. And they decided, well, no, let's make Invisible Man very modern and timely to the point.
It looks like they've done the same thing here.
That's what it looks like they're doing here. They're trying to make them all timely and update them. The only thing I wonder about this, because it looks good from that trailer.
Yep.
It's like, but I'm not sure. It looks like a good werewolf movie. I'm not sure why it necessarily needs the Wolfman title. Is the only thing here.
Well, I mean, it's Universal. They own the title.
They own the title.
They might as well use it, especially if it's going to be from the same guy who did the Invisible
Yeah.
Man movie. You trot it out as
Yeah.
tangentially connected. It's got a lot of cachet, even though it is an older IP.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember going to Universal Studios when I was 10 years old and going to the Monster Movie Cafe,
Yeah.
and they had all the Wolfman movies on the wall and
Yeah.
Frankenstein and stuff like that. So it's good to see them trot these characters out again, especially since it feels like it's been. I mean, was Benicio del Toro in one like
Yes, that
15 years ago?
And weirdly enough, that one also a February release.
Yeah.
That one came out in 2010.
Okay.
And I like that movie. I think and that one was really gothic. They leaned heavily into
Yeah.
it. Still loved it. That's exactly what I wanted. Perfect. And I was like, that's what I want in my Wolfman movies. This one looks pretty good too, though. I'm excited. They've never done the modern wolf. You know, a lot of these other guys, horror monsters, have gotten their modern adaptation.
Yep.
Not so much the Wolfman specifically. There's been other werewolf movies set in modern times, but not the original one yet. So we're due for this one. This is I'm excited to see how they're going with this one. This one looks exciting just because the original Wolfman story, you know, he was a single guy who was coming home to his, you know, he hadn't been to his father's home, his big castle. That's the original story. This one, it looks like this man he's a father, and he's just got children, and he's a middle-class guy.
Well,
too.
I wonder if they'll have some tropes where he's returning to an older place where, like, maybe he's going to a childhood home or something like that, just to sort of spiritually connect it. But
There could be something like that. I don't know how much they're going to try to connect to the original. It doesn't even seem like he has the same name as the original Wolfman, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's we'll see. It's just interesting that they're what they're going to do. But it does look like it's going to be it looks like it's going to be scary.
Yeah,
and that's
which
what I
I'm in
appreciate
for,
too.
yeah.
So, and it's really going to go into the real horror of a man changing into a monster.
And not just that, but like disconnecting from his humanity too, which I
Yeah.
think is going to be a big part of the film, based on the trailer that I
Yeah.
saw, which
That-
I think will be really interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing that they could heavily lead into that a lot of zombie movies have
Mm-hmm.
done recently, where it's like when losing that control of your faculties, and like that is a big part of the Wolfman transition. I'm interested to see that take on it versus what we've seen before.
And will he end up hurting his family? He's got his wife and daughter there
Yeah.
too. We don't know, and I'm almost wondering if part of the story where we'll have a big switch here, where the main focus of the character is actually the wife and how she's going to have to take him out, or if she can even. It's there's good drama in there. I'm excited for this movie, and
Yeah.
this director has shown that he can do this material. He knows what he's doing, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident. that
And
this
in
movie-
contrast with the 2010 version, which had just an all-star lineup of cast, Anthony Hopkins was in
Yep,
it.
yep.
You know, Benicio del Toro. I feel
Emily
like
Blunt.
yeah.
Hugo
And
Weaving.
I don't know anyone in this movie.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
point too. It's and even in the Invisible Man movie, we had some people I recognized. This one, you're right. I don't know them. These are all young, upcoming actors,
Yeah, which-
actresses, which means they didn't need the star power. I guess the title maybe is the star power, and
Which
they-
I'm fine with, yeah.
And I'm optimistic because we've been ragging on these January releases, but another exception to it is horror movies do okay.
You're right.
A
And I'm
lot.
not a big horror guy. You
I
are.
am.
So.
They release a lot of horror movies in January, and they can do just fine. They'll
Yeah.
be successful because, and that's the funny thing about horror movies, you can technically release them in almost any month, and they
Yep.
do okay. And January is just fine. And one of the-
Generally, they're lower budget, too,
Lower
so they're
budget,
lower
yeah.
risk for the studio.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about this movie. Even though it's got a big IP name on it, I don't think they probably had to spend too much on
Yep.
it. I'm sure that the biggest expense was probably the director, who's pretty up and coming, and people
Yep.
like him too. And but as long as Universal's backing this thing, it's got they're probably doing okay, and they're going to probably turn a profit on this.
I think they probably will. I mean, based on the trailer, it doesn't look like it cost them that much to
No,
make. So.
but it looks like the special effect, because that's the other thing about these werewolf movies. You better have some pretty good special effects.
The monster is critical.
You got to do that, and also I don't know how much of it's CGI versus makeup. We'll see how much is practical.
Hopefully.
I don't know based on the trailer. We didn't see enough of it yet.
True. Yeah.
That could
Which
be
I'm okay
interesting.
with because I don't
you
like
don't
I
need
say, don't show everything in the trailer.
It's a good idea. We won't save that for when we
Yes.
watch that thing. But that'll be. But I hope no matter what, if they go CGI, it's like it better look better than the singing ape that we just saw there. It's like that's what
Or
they
at
have to
least
compete.
as
They
good.
got to compete with that.
Yeah, the ape was okay.
But yeah, it needs to be at least as
As
good.
good,
But I think I'm pretty optimistic.
All
about
right,
this
next
one.
we'll take a look at the trailer for something. It's a kids
Completely
movie,
different.
so we'll take a look at the trailer for Dog Man here.
A lot of man.
He's part dog, part man, all hero.
Dogman!
Why do you always gotta lick the inside of my mouth? Going to arrest Petey, and I don't care if it takes a montage. Dogman!
How evil can one cat be?
Pretty evil!
Dogman.
I have a soft spot in my heart for the writer of the books because when I was a kid, he wrote these two books called Cat Kong and Dogzilla.
I've read those.
And I loved
They're good.
them. I loved them so much. And I didn't realize it was the same guy who wrote the Captain Underpants books until
Yeah.
I was an adult. And I was reading these Dogzilla and Cat Kong books to my kids. And whenever we read books to the kids, we always read the author's name. Because I
Yeah.
feel like it's respectful.
Should,
When
yeah.
you're reading the book, you should read the author's name as well. And I read it and I said, that's the guy who does Captain Underpants.
You can see.
So I've always loved Dav Pilkey, and my kids adore Dogman. They read those comic books like crazy. So I'll probably end up seeing this one just by virtue of having to see everything the kids watch.
Sure.
But it looks like fun.
Yep.
I guess the story is tangentially about a man and a dog hybrid of a cop.
Sure. Makes sense.
Written by the same guy who writes the Captain Underpants stuff. So it's going to be bonkers as well.
Yeah. Well, sounds a little bit like Paw Patrol, but it was slightly different here.
Oh, trust me, it is not Paw Patrol. All right, Paw Patrol
Something else.
is the same thing in every episode. I cannot even fathom Captain Underpants or any of these things being the same thing.
It's not even the same ballpark.
They're bizarre
They're
and
bizarre.
strange and wonderful, and I'm sure this will be exactly the same.
Yeah, that's what my thought is too. I mean, I did even from that trailer. I guess I did appreciate the animation style there. They're kind of, it's almost like the faux two-dimensional kind of look. They're really aping kind of like, well, the animation style of the actual comics for the most part, which is a good idea there, but still giving that little three-dimensional edge, make sure you know it's a movie there, which I like that. That's a little clever thing. I think the movie looks cute, is what it is. It looks like a good, fun time that you're gonna have with your family there. And if your kids are fans of the book, they're probably gonna love the movie too. I suspect that it's probably a faithful adaptation from the look of it,
or at least a fun adaptation.
But you know, just the books you mentioned. You know, this is the same author who gave us Captain Underpants, Cap Kong, Dogzilla, which I love those too. They're great. So I'm not familiar with the Dog Man, but
I don't have kids yet.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm sure someday I'll figure it out. But it looks. I have faith in the writer. He clearly can deliver some really fun stuff for both kids and the parents who have to read these stories too. So I think the parents will probably have just a fine time going watching this thing. And going back to our these early releases generally don't bode well. Because it's a kids cartoon and this one's releasing in February from the look of it. That's not a huge risk because those cartoon movies that come out, Academy has a long memory for them, so it's not impossible for this one to get some animation love at the Oscars. It could happen.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's impossible just because I know the content of all of these books. There's no way they will lob awards at this movie.
Oh.
It'll be fun, I promise.
Okay, well,
but I doubt seriously the number of fart jokes will be appreciated with the Academy.
You never know. But you never know. It could be a weird year. We'll find out.
I mean, I suppose. I'm
not sure
what it's going to be up against.
Well, it's the funny thing is I'm wondering what other animation films or big ones are coming out in 2025. I don't know yet. But
I mean, it's coming from DreamWorks, so there'll be some studio backing, I'm sure.
We'll find out. But it'll be pretty cute, I think. I don't have any doubt that I have a sneaking suspicion we'll probably get a Dogman sequel.
I hope so.
I think that.
Now, the director, I believe he used to work on the Animaniacs.
Oh, there you go.
If you need any more endorsement to go ahead and see that one.
That's great right there.
I mean, I love the Animaniacs. I'm sure you
I
did
do
too.
too.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
All right, we'll take a look at the next trailer here. It's a film by Mel Gibson, and it was on the 2020 Blacklist. This is Flight Risk. Take a look.
I never flew U.S. Marshal before. Hope you like flying. Beautiful day for it. Deputy Harris, hope you like flying. Beautiful day for it. I never flew U.S. Marshal before. Why is he all chained up?
I have to get him to New York so we can testify against the Moretti crime family.
Okay, hey, you're the boss.
I can't seem to face up to the facts. I'm dancing nervous and I can't relax.
Is it always this bumpy?
No, a number of passengers have left their lunch up here. I gotta open a snack bar.
I can't sleep cause my bed's on fire.
Your neck okay? You got a scratch there.
Maintenance. Occupational hazard.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I'm a real life fire. Psycho killer. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Moretti is very disappointed in you, Winston, and he wants you dead.
Don't shoot him, we need him!
Mayday, mayday. We've been compromised. The pilot's a hitman.
I want to tear you apart. The tiny little pieces, they're gonna need the entire forensics team to identify you.
Tell me how to fly this thing, or we will die out here.
Clearly, you've mistaken me for somebody who actually gives them.
You hear that? Looks military.
You think he's there to help? He's there to shoot you down.
Come on, damn it!
y'all need a pilot?
Okay. So we should probably explain what the blacklist is quick.
Yes, we should.
Okay, so the blacklist is a list that is put out by a company that identifies the most attractive unsigned scripts on a yearly basis. Basically, what these industry experts say are the best scripts out there. So this was on this list, that list a couple years ago. So it's clearly a thriller. I'm extremely excited. I love Marky Mark. He's very inconsistent, but when he's on, he's on, and he looks like he's on in this one.
Yeah, you're right. This is, and I gotta say, it looks like it's gonna be a slight departure for Marky Mark because he's clearly the bad guy this time around.
Bad guy.
Yeah, and not only is he a bad guy, he's really tweaking his image because we see in this trailer he doesn't even have a good head of hair. They decided to do that, you know. The real Marky Mark does have good hair, so they decided, let's make him look sketchy and shave his head. And like, man, that is a brave decision. Kind of. So he's really going for something different here.
I'm very excited. I also really like Topher Grace.
I do too.
I think he kind of got a short shrift there for a while, and I'm hopefully he's kind of working his way back. He's done some good work. He was in Interstellar a couple of years ago, which I thought, great role. You know, he's done a couple other things since then. Hopefully he can work himself back into being more of a character actor, like I think he probably should have been in the first place.
Yeah, he's Topher Grace is he always is bringing the best he can to the roles he's in. I've seen him do so many interviews because if he's doing a part, he really cares.
Yeah.
And one of the things I always kind of appreciated about him learning he got to start on that '70s show. Comedy
show.
Yeah, comedy show. Very difficult role. He had a lot on him, and that was his big production. One thing I learned about him, he's one of these actors, he doesn't like to break the scene by laughing if something goes wrong. He tries to hold it in as best he can, so you never see him kind of just smiling on the side there. He got known for the actor who never broke.
Yeah.
And it's always amazing because
I'm sure it was tough on that.
It was that show, and that's the thing is, other one they were breaking. The thing is, he not only doesn't like it when other actors do it, so he's one of those like, we gotta be serious about this. So even though he's known for being this comedic one, he takes it very seriously. So when you see him in these other movies, and what's kind of shocked me because, you know, the thing he did like right after, well, he was still doing that '70s show. He was in the movie Traffic. And he was a serious role he had in that one, and he can show that he can do these kind of big drama stuff here.
I kind of love him in Predators, where he plays the Weasley serial killer on the side the whole time. You're like, oh, what's he doing here? He's actually a killer.
Yeah, exactly. And this is from the same producers, which I'm guessing that's why he's in this. I'm guessing one of the producers on Predators like, no, he can do this role. He can be perfect in this character that he's playing, which is kind of a difficult one because this is the first time I've seen this trailer. I actually thought they were going to set him up as being the crazy bad, like what he was in Predators. Yeah. But no, he's not.
Well, if he's testifying against a mob family, he's probably not a good dude.
He's like the lesser of two evils. Is what we're doing here. And he's the one who kind of figures out that Marky Mark's not on the level right off the bat. You can see from the trailer. So it's like, it'll be fascinating how this movie goes because I want to see this movie because this is an example of like, I do not know where this movie's going to go. I don't know how they're going to end.
It looks like it's going to go somewhere wild.
Yeah, I'm not even. And that's the other thing is, I'm guessing most of it's going to take place on the plane.
I think so. Yeah, you're going to really have that trapped feeling.
How much of it on the plane? You know, will there be like the last third they get off? They finally crash the plane. I don't know.
They could be like the speed where they have the subway chase at the end just to get them off the bus for the last 15 minutes. You know.
And here's the other thing. I don't know if Mark Wahlberg's character is going to win. He might. This could be a downer ending, maybe, or maybe he doesn't get. He loses, but he survives, and then they do a teaser. I don't know. We'll see how they do it here, because it looks like they're setting him up as a really nasty villain.
And Mel Gibson, while a real piece of work, he can direct a movie.
Yes.
I mean, Braveheart.
Well, that was one of the big jokes on South Park,
Yeah.
where they were trying to get directors to finish.
That's right.
They were trying to find the directors to finish. What should we do next? So they're going to the big directors, and none of them are working because they're all getting into this. Like, no, that's a special effect. That's not an ending. And then they brought in. I was like, I hate to bring you in, Mel Gibson, and Mel Gibson's insane. He's just this crazy lunatic doing stuff. You're the last person we want to call in, but then he's the one who actually comes up with a solution. And the big joke is like, well, you may be a complete crazy lunatic, but at least you understand plot structure. Because he does. Yeah. Mel Gibson understands plot structure.
I liked Apocalypto too. That was really good. Oh man, Mel Gibson.
It's gonna be great. This will probably be the first time in decades I've been excited to see a Mel Gibson film here.
I mean, yeah.
It's been a rough ride for him over this, but this is and it does seem a little different from most of the stuff he's ever directed. But he has worked with Mark Wahlberg before too, so that's probably another reason why they were able to get this one going. It's a pretty exciting one, and you know, it kind of reminds me a little bit. 2 years ago, we had a movie that came out called just Plane. That was a thriller, kind of set on a plane. Kind of like that movie. It was pretty good actually. I was like, wow, I was just surprised. Again, late January released, but it did okay, and I think that's what they're kind of aiming for here, because I'm guessing they just don't know necessarily who the target audience is for this one, but they figure it'll probably do okay in January. Yeah. And it looked like from that trailer they originally wanted this to come out in October, but it
might have come out limited in October too. You know,
and that was the other thing, trying to figure out where it would work well, because it could totally work as a horror movie to some extent, because it is definitely a thriller here. But they probably just wanted it's a good mashup. Let's throw it in January, see what we can get.
Maybe it did well in limited, and they decided to open it up in January when there's not much competition.
That's probably the way to go. But then it also reminds me a little bit of, for a while there, the king of January thriller action films was Liam Neeson. He was delivering a bunch of those.
Oh,
all the Taken movies came out in January.
Did they? Okay, that's the best movie I saw in January.
Yeah, those movies did. But he made a bunch of other ones, like The Commuter, too. And there was a nonstop, there was a flight movie.
I remember The Gray was really good, too. Was that a January one, too?
It was either February. It was either January or February. I can't remember which also opened with a plane crash, by the way.
Yep.
So it's just like, and this kind of reminds me of the same veins. Like, can we do that again here? Can we make, maybe Mark Wahlberg wants to be the next Liam Neeson here or something?
But he's the bad guy.
I know he is, but still, Liam Neeson can be the bad guy too sometimes, so it's true.
God, when was Liam Neeson a bad guy?
Million Ways to Die in the West.
Okay, yeah. He's got that weird relationship with Seth there, where he's like shows up in his movies. Did you see Ted 2 when he's there'll be no one will follow me, right?
Yeah, and he gets starred in playing himself in a Family Guy episode too.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
He did. He plays himself. It's hilarious, and but it's, and you know. Well, Mark Wahlberg again was also in the Ted movie, so it works out perfect. It's all coming around.
We're all connecting.
We're connecting these dots.
We're gonna
play
the Kevin Bacon game later. We're gonna make everything work out.
Oh, we should. That'll be a tough one.
All right, next we're gonna take a look at a trailer for a comedy. This one's starring Keke Palmer. It's One of Them Days.
I'm sorry, I had to get a jump from Shamika, then they had a checkpoint at LaBrea, I had to go all the way around. Don't forget, I have my interview at 4. Why are you still trying to be in corporate? Do your own thing. And what's that? Living paycheck to paycheck? You got this, okay? You been that girl. Been that girl.
That my best friend, she a real bad
girl. You know we getting a white person in the jungle?
I am right here if you guys ever want to have a girls' night. A little Prosecco and pals.
Child, I saw one with a cat and a stroller. Mama rules. You paid the rent, right? I did.
Hey, what?
Oh, you look real alopecia today.
Do you have the rent?
Your boyfriend took our rent money and dipped.
I invested in it. This is our future.
If we don't get the rent money by 6, we're gonna be on a car with Fabian.
You wanna buy my grandma's vintage speaker?
And your grandma just died. She ain't even in the ground yet. How we gonna make $1,500 by 6? Not to mention I got the interview at 4.
Don't do it. It's a trap.
You want a loan?
If you don't have the money this month, you're not gonna have it next month.
My credit score is currently a little...
Are you having a heart attack?
I've never seen a credit score this low.
You lucky she holding me back. You lucky she holding me back.
If I get this job, you and me gonna be good. For real. You don't have to live like this anymore. You got this.
Alyssa, get down.
Someone threw retro Jordans up here.
How much that's worth? Be careful.
Thought I killed you. We need our money ASAP.
Come on. Let's talk about how these running bitches and they
Answer. First the rent, and now Lolo's trying to kill us.
We actually can pay you $70 per pint.
Okay. Take it easy on me, because needles make me squeamish.
Join the club, girl. Today's my first day.
Ow! Did we still get the money?
I'm super interested in this. I'm definitely gonna see this eventually. I get the struggle. I've been there. I need some money sometimes, and you gotta grind for it, and you do some dumb stuff. The donating blood scene, I nearly died laughing. I just kills me. Keke Palmer's great. I like Nope. That was awesome. Oh, yeah. So I love the energy. I'm definitely gonna see this one.
Oh yeah, it's we get out of these comedies like this are kind of getting rare though.
I agree.
I think we're gonna take this concept where it's just people trying to get through the day, really, and just kind of slice of life, moving through the city, just different venues here, different little setup for different
characters,
venues.
different.
And it's just we're gonna go for comedy here. There's probably there's some real drama here. There's that they're trying to make rent basically here. They have to make the ends meet here, so it's got this relatability there that we can get to. But then the comedy's pretty broad, but we get it, and it's kind of fun, just slice of life kind of thing going on.
I'm always here for an R-rated comedy. I feel like that the mid-budget R-rated comedy used to be a Hollywood staple. I mean, you'd get one every week coming out, and now you're lucky if you get 3 a year.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, it's just how many of them are even being released to theaters?
It's all straight to streaming. Like the last one I was really excited for was the Ricky Stenicki movie with John Cena, which was great. Direct to Amazon.
Yep.
And it got no push, no play. It just it was on Amazon. Everyone forgot about it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Ricky Stenicki's really funny, and I recommend it. And I'm excited for this one too because I feel like it's going to have a lot of the same kind of energy, chaotic energy.
Yeah, I think we need that kind of comedy right now here, and that's the other thing too is comedies don't necessarily have to be expensive. You can get. That's why they'd work. You bring them in with this. We get a low budget film here. Just bring in some funny actors and. We'll get a good venue. People want to go see a movie and laugh at that.
It's a working class art form.
Yeah,
exactly. Everybody can connect with that kind of struggle, and that comedy comes from that shared experience. That's why I never really cared for the show Friends because it just seemed like they were all disconnected from reality.
A little bit.
And whereas, I love Seinfeld when you see the struggle of those people, and they're don't get me wrong, wacky hijinks, but they're still. They're connecting with the relatable relationship struggles and with the, job struggles, especially George Costanza.
Yeah. It's kind of is a lost art form in the film world these days, though. So I do appreciate them even trying to bring this back with a pretty big star. Keke Palmer is doing quite well. You mentioned Nope, but she's been delivering pretty strong lately too.
Yeah.
So I think she'll be able to sell this film and really get to people that check. But they also, I saw we have Cat Williams there in a supporting role. He's killing it in his little scene they had. They're like, don't go, it's a trap.
It's a trap. The interest rates will kill you.
And you know what? He's not wrong.
No, that's not.
That's why it's funny. It's kind of funny. It's almost like the movie's trying to warn us all. Don't do this. This is why you shouldn't do this. And you know what? In a way, it's a public service announcement, and God bless them for doing that.
Yeah, agreed. 100%.
God bless them for just saying it out there in film. I love that.
All right. I mean, I'm all about more mid-budget R-rated comedies, and it's good. It's good that I probably won't see this one in theaters. I'm part of the problem. I'm 100% part of the problem. But I'll see it when it comes to streaming because I never leave my house. Although I did see a movie for the first time in theaters in like 5 years. I saw Sonic 3 with the kids.
There you go.
And it was a blast. And I haven't been to the theater in so long. It was a very bizarre experience for me. I went to the theater and they have these powered recliners and it's just like there's no ticket booth. You get it all printed out at like a little kiosk and they still have teenagers working behind the counter slinging popcorn. But yeah, it was odd. I'm in a reclined seat watching a movie and it's been so long.
It's been so long you haven't been able to recline in a film.
No.
Oh, well, you're missing out. It's pretty fun to do the reclining.
It was a blast. The kids had a good time too, and they were very good. They did not. My kids did not talk during the movie. Okay, people.
Oh, that's
they know better.
They know. Well, you've trained them well, though.
Yes,
It
yeah.
does happen where you have that occasional kid who just knows to keep it down.
Yeah. I mean, they laugh at the appropriate moments because it is a comedy. Sonic 3, but
we love it. We can't take them to this one, though. So,
no, I don't think so.
I think most of the humor will go over their head, but we'll get there. And I'm kind of wondering, it is in theaters, but I'm almost wondering, where will it play here in New Orleans? I don't know.
I mean, maybe it'd probably play in Mankato at least.
Yeah, Mankato at very least, I'm sure. It's always one of those things like, because, if it does come here, I might take up on a matinee on that.
There you
check
go.
it out there. Just go. It's been so long since I've seen a really real comedy. I mean, I did see Y2K actually.
Oh, did you?
I did, and that is funny, but in some ways it's kind of a drama to that one. So it's like something, but just because there's so much science fiction elements to that one. So,
yeah.
But maybe we are coming back to comedies. Maybe that's what we're
so.
seeing here.
I
Just
love
with
comedies.
Y2K being a success and this one coming out now too, just could be. Maybe
I
we
saw,
are start.
grew up, mid 2000s with like Zoolander, Dodgeball,
Yep.
Wedding Crashers, and all those ones just like blasting out constantly. I feel like I was spoiled.
I just think of the parody movies too that would always come out.
Oh man,
too.
Scary Movie.
Scary Movie or something. Well, even the Austin Powers franchise.
Oh yeah.
Like it's we don't see.
That was the second DVD we ever owned. Was Austin Powers: The Spy Who Shagged Me, and there was
Actually,
like
that might be the same for me,
14
too.
hours of special features on that DVD.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
There's
They
a
even had
lot.
a secret second menu with more special features.
I think it was one of my first DVDs too, actually. But it just shows you that's what we're missing there. We don't those just good adult comedies, good parody films where we don't get those where it's just too many big budget spectacles.
Soaking up all the money, making Robbie Williams into a monkey.
I know. We could have gotten so many movies like this for the price that they lost.
All right, looks like we're going to do some trivia here. Steven, are you going to stump us on every single one again?
Yes.
I think you're going to do well this time.
You say that every time, and we never do well.
All right, here we go. Oh, okay. Move over here. How many films did the Wolfman appear in the original Universal Monster franchise?
Boy. Okay, so obviously the Wolfman.
Then he was in Wolfman versus Frankenstein. That was the first time they ever. And then he was in House of Frankenstein. They did House of Dracula. I believe he was in that one too. So that's 4. And then where it gets confusing because he did Abbott and Costello.
Yeah,
and
those count.
Those count, and I imagine they would because they're in canon. And this is the thing, I don't remember how many of the Abbott and Costellos did, because I don't remember if there was Abbott and Costello Meet the Wolfman. There probably was, but then I think he was in some of the other Meet character ones as well. And the reason why I think they count is because technically, kind of a spoiler for a movie that's like 80 years old.
It's not a spoiler.
Okay. One of the last movies he did, and it was Lon Chaney Jr. in all of them. They cured him. He actually successfully got cured in one of the Abbott and Costello movies, and he was free of it.
I'm going to spoil something for you. At the end of War of the Worlds, germs kill the aliens.
You monster! How dare you?
I can't believe we spoiled that one.
All right, what are we going
I'm gonna
with?
say 5.
I'm going to say 7, just because I want to go higher.
Okay. It was
5. He got it.
I did it.
Dogman. Okay, you already talked about this, so this one you've gotten already.
Spin-off of what other franchise? It's Captain Underpants.
Captain Underpants, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Underpants.
I knew this one. Ha ha! Thank you, kids.
All right. What band was Robbie Williams a member of in the 1990s?
We should have expected this question.
Should have, yeah.
I don't know anything about the man.
That's the sad thing is I've heard the name, but I don't know. So I'm guessing he was in some sort of British band.
What's a British pop band?
British pop band in the 90s. That would have been huge.
Is he one of the Spice Girls?
No, we would have heard about that one. He's not Oasis.
No.
Who else was big in there? Was he like one of the side people from Duran Duran?
No, it's too early.
It is like think Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, but British.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know.
Boys, but British.
You don't know it.
Is it just letters? It feels like it's just
it is
a letters.
2 words.
2 words. Dang it. I feel like it would.
I have. What's the most British thing we can think of? They don't have.
Bangers and mash. Is
Yes.
it
That
bangers?
would be amazing. I think that should exist.
It should be.
It is Take That.
Take that. Nah. I will not take that.
I've never heard of it before.
All right, another easy one here. The female lead of what was it called? Flight's Risk.
Oh.
Yes.
Which British series did Michelle Dockery get her start on?
Yeah, you say it's an easy one. What's the name of that show? Downton Abbey? Is it Downton Abbey?
No, that'd be one of my guesses. You say that one, I got to think of another one.
I'm going to say Downton Abbey.
You say that one, I'll say the other British one that I can think of. I'm going to say Doctor Who.
Those are both great answers.
Both wrong.
It is Downton Abbey.
It is Downton Abbey. I knew it. I knew I recognized it.
Well, if you had said Downtown Abbey, I would have.
Oh, thanks, honey. The only reason I've seen Downton Abbey is my wife watched all of it like 5 times in a row.
That's all I've got for this one.
I feel bad about that one.
It's a pretty good show.
I should have gotten that one. Yeah, well.
We did good this time.
I know. Good. So we can each claim 2. That's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna credit my wife and children for me getting any right this time.
I do think Steve went a little easy on us though. So.
He always says he does, and they're never easy.
This one time, I think he was truthful a little bit.
True. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Enough said. Go out and enjoy some movies this week.
Yeah.